Welcome back to the Mexico Major, where we are seeing out of our 15 teams who will be walking away with a lion's share of the prize pot, securing themselves 200k and also those SI points. We're a little bit into this third day here on the B stream, as we've just wrapped up our first game, BDS versus Cyclops, with BDS coming away with an overtime win. However, now they'll be going on to their following game up against Soniqs. Let's bring in the beautiful boys that have been analysing and casting all the action over the past 2 days. Tim, Des, how are we feeling based off that previous game? We think in BDS they're looking like themselves, they've got the stature, or are we a bit concerned for what could be happening in this next matchup, Tim?
I'm steady as a rock, Jackie. There's no excitement or nerves for the day here. It's been a great opener. We couldn't have asked for any more. BDS coming in, securing themselves the spot in the playoffs, and they can still be caught up. They might not get the top spot, so this game still means something for BDS. If they want to close out that number one spot, they need to make sure that they're beating the Soniqs, because otherwise all eyes will be on the Team 1 Cyclops matchup later on. So they're going to look to close it out now.
Yeah, you're never going to want to leave your fate in the hands of other teams. So hopefully BDS can hold on and keep the reins going. Obviously an important matchup, Des, for them. So let's start off with the European side. BDS, the 5 fraggers that have just picked up the previous win. If people are tuning in a little bit late today, Des, let's give them a recap of why this roster is so exciting.
I mean, you don't need much introduction for these boys anymore. They've been around the top of the international competitive circuit for quite some time now. Shaiko being the name that many will recognize, but some other phenomenal names stacked up around him as well. Kind of a celebrity in his own right, but Bride coming in last year, phenomenal. Renshiro, Rafal, Alems, you just can't ignore anyone on this team. And I think we saw a lot of reasons why in that last game, to be fair. The only times that they looked particularly shaken by Cyclops was when they brought out a really wacky rapid attack, or when there was a lot of disruption around the map. They are a very solid team, very strategical, very coordinated on their attacking side. I do get a bit nervous when teams get up in their faces and start trying to disrupt them, but to me at least, coming up against Soniqs, a North American team, a region that is known for being quite structured and coordinated in their play, I feel here you're coming up against the kings of coordination in BDS, and they are going to give Soniqs a real show.
Oh, the kings of coordination. I like it. And they're all looking coordinated. Here they are getting ready. One of them that has proven he is very ready on the server already today, of course, is LMs. I mean, Tim, he looked brilliant in the previous matchup. He's had some huge impact as well in a couple of the games we've seen in the last 2 days. What more can we get from him? Is there another little bit of skill that we can squeeze out of him?
The thing with Alems is central to this BDS team, this BDS lineup, because you've got there. You can see him, he's sat there, he's looking over the numbers, he's looking over the stats with Eagle Mees, he's just trying to get all that information, and then he's going to deliver it in the matchup. He's going to be the one, he's the voice within the team to, be giving that guidance, and Alems is super important to BDS, and he's going to be pivotal for them coming out and getting a win here against the Soniqs, because I think something very important to point out here, the Soniqs may well not be able to qualify for the playoffs, but believe me, they're still playing to win. This is about spoiling people's party. This is about just bragging rights, wanting to get the win. This is about practice and learning for them. It's something that was posted on social media. It is about this, as I pointed out yesterday, it's a new roster. And they're going to take every opportunity they can to learn, develop, grow. And every map that they have in this LAN experience internationally is an opportunity for that. So they're going to come in full force. No two ways about it.
It's like when you go down to the local footy field and, you don't get picked for the game, but you brought the ball. So instead you just stab the ball. So let's have a look at the ball-busting Buccaneers that are, of course, the opposition for this game. Soniqs, Des. Obviously, they've had a bit of a rough tournament to this point. Do you think, with no pressure on them, effectively at this point, backs against the walls, coming out to just spoil the fun for the others, that we might see them shine in a different light this time?
I mean, NA's revenge tour starts today, Jackie. TSM are out. They can't qualify either in Group D, but they've come out today and beat Liquid, the only unbeaten team up to that point. Every team has now suffered a loss, and if TSM can do it, I've got some faith that you might just see the same coming out of the Soniqs. They made their way into here, and maybe I think at first many thought, Soniqs not not really going to deliver, and sure, when you look at the results, they haven't. But they're a team that we know as one of the best 16 in the world right now. They can step up and make themselves heard. If they come in and provide a bit of an upset here, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it's good story building. It shows that BDS can bleed the same way Cyclops demonstrated it, and I'm hoping, like I said, if nothing else, to say Rexon and Grixer, two of the new young fraggers they've brought into their squad, but we can see them getting a little bit of experience, and just maybe at the next major, that's where you'll see Soniqs really come out gunning.
Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. He might be young, but he certainly knows how to use a gun. Grixer was one of the players we wanted to give a little bit of love to, shine a light on him, because he was a huge impact for Soniqs. Tim, back on the server tonight, off the leash, effectively allowed to just go out and get large and in charge. Surely he's going to send sparks flying, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if we look towards Grix's stage 2, we know he's had reasonable performances. He's played well so far here at the Mexico Major. But if we look over to stage 2 as well, this is a player that inside of 8 maps got 77 kills, not too far away from a 10 kill per game average. And that is impressive stuff, and he's very, very central to this Soniqs team, along with Rex. And as you said, them working as a pair, they're going to develop, they're going to become a more and more deadly duo as time goes on.
They are dropping the dapper attire as well. The team was looking fresh. I love to see it. So let's have a look what fresh face place we're going to be going to. Of course, we've got to get into the veto. We've got to work out where this one's going to go down. Surely not another repeat of the map, right, for BDS?
Nah, surely not. I'm just digging now to try and find out the maps and what these teams have been playing. Can't imagine Cafe will be a thing, because Soniqs have banned it away 10 times, only had it banned against them twice. Ain't quite their cup of tea. Same can be said for maps like Coastlines. I think that'll get taken away. Club, quite a favourite coming in for Soniqs by the looks of it, so it should maybe be taken away by BDS, although it is quite a home map for them. I think BDS here, they banned Chalet, they banned Villa. I'm somewhat surprised to see Soniqs taking away Consulate, given it is one of their favourite maps. Oh wow, BDS taking away the club. All right, I'm surprised.
Getting a bit of a mix-up here. I mean, Soniqs, are going to leave Villa alone because, as we said previously, you don't need to take it out. They're happy to play there, if anything, and you've got BDS that will take it. Now, Coastline, you'll be glad to know, has gone, Des. That's going to be Soniqs banning that one out for you. I think we're going to be looking at the choice of Chalet, Cafe, or Oregon here. Chalet taken out by BDS once again. So, Villa left in the pool, and I would suggest that's likely to be BDS's last ban if it gets left over here. So, the choice now pretty much comes down to the Soniqs. Cafe or Oregon. I think we could have an Oregon on our hands.
Oh man, if we get an Oregon, I will be licking my lips, to be honest. I've wanted it all damn day, and I'm not going to get it.
There you have it,
I mean, realistically, yeah, I mean, looking at it, to be honest, I know that BDS don't play it, and I commented on that, but also consider the stakes of this game. To them, it means
it's
nothing.
Limited.
They're probably not... Exactly. They're probably going to ban this as their go-to map, I imagine, in playoffs. I mean, truthfully, if they come out here and smash Sonic something silly, a couple of teams will look at that and just be thinking, do we really want to chance it? Do we want to leave it open? Are we going to be that team that let BDS go to Villa? Because thinking on it, when we get into best of threes, let's not forget, you only get to ban away one map, and it's either going to be your weakest or their strongest. That's where everyone assumes by default that BDS would just ban away Villa. They've put on a good show in here. Some will start asking questions of, well, what if they don't? Are we prepared to pick Villa and take them there? Be a good little test for BDS, I think. A bit of a warm-up on Villa, should we say, Jackie?
I hope so. I do wonder if it's going to potentially affect what we predicted going into this series as well. Now we've seen the veto, let's have a look at the 3 predictions we decided on. So we've all gone for BDS again. A lot of support for the EU side tonight, Tim.
There is. We've already called it correctly once, although we were made to sweat a little bit about it. We weren't sure it was going to get over the line. Des at points was wishing he took the opportunity to change it out again, but BDS did get it locked down. Do I think they're going to beat the Soniqs here? I think they probably will. I think we've seen Cyclops perform better than the Soniqs so far, so by that nature, just the straightforward process of elimination, BDS beat Cyclops, BDS should beat Soniqs. I would expect so. They're going to want that top spot. They're going to want to really go through, in pole position.
You still quietly confident in your prediction, Des?
Yeah, I mean, Soniqs, again, it's not like you're playing against a top 2 team here, as BDS did in their last match. This should be a bit of an easier affair, but beware, the NA team sat at the bottom of the table there, the ones who can bounce back, as TSM have shown, so I'll keep a close eye on it. Small little tidbit for you, by the way. Just saw iGator tweet it out. I think Renshiro is the best player in the world.
Saying it for the longest time.
That's very cute. Very wholesome.
Very cute.
It's nice. It's nice. It's what we like. We're a wholesome community here. So strap in for this one because the two beautiful men that you've heard talking, building up the hype for this game, are about to guide you through all the action. Boys, get into it. Enjoy yourselves.
Oh, we're getting a real rarity here today, Tim. I feel like we've gone out hunting in the wilderness and come across a rare animal. BDS on Villa, something that we barely get to see. So for Soniqs, I hope they came ready here, brought along their little safety pistol because, my God, BDS come out here with something special to show. Teams will start sweating all around the competition.
Well, this is it. You know, we were theory crafting earlier in the map band saying, you know, you can pretty much leave Villa there because you know BDS will take it out, but that just throws a complete... Exactly. It just throws a complete and utter spanner in the works for the rest of the teams, doesn't it? Coming forward thinking, right, we don't need to worry about Villa as part of a best of three because BDS actually, wait, what? They might play it. Like, that's, you know, it's almost unbelievable to see this. But the interesting thing now is going to be, how is BDS's performance? If they come out and they rock it here...
This is getting me. What is that dot on your wall behind you? Because I thought there was something on my screen.
No, it's not.
It's something in your room.
Dot.
It's not. I've moved the window around. It's something in your room.
I know it is.
What is it?
It's a dot on my wall.
Can you get rid of it, please?
Don't worry about it. No, I can't. It's a roll plug in the wall that I took something down from.
Oh, that's actually going to hurt me so much. All right, fine. We'll make do with it. Map's ready. Let's get into it, Villa, for the map between these two teams. The Soniqs, one of their final showings here at the Major. Do play again late against Team 1 and have a real chance to play spoiler. So, a good showing for them here might just be enough to put Team 1 on edge because, as a reminder, Team 1 needs to win in regulation both of their games against Soniqs and Cyclops later on to have a chance at making it into the top 2. Otherwise, it's BDS and Cyclops going through.
Heading into the banning phase here on Villa then, it's going to be Soniqs to take the first ban as the defenders. They will take out the first attacker and then BDS will follow suit with another attacker before we go through the same process for the defenders, but with BDS starting first that time. So Thatcher is the first one to go. The NA teams banning out the Thatcher continues, Des.
It does, mate. Honestly, it's a trend. I even DM'd Lycan yesterday and said to him, what is it with all the NA teams banning this away? I just want to kind of rifle down for his response. And he said to me, it just slows the game down and gives you a feeling of control if it's banned away. And I was like, all right, fine. NA teams, structure, they like control. I get it. Because to be fair, when you think about it on defense, and we saw this in EUL when Na'Vi played against Empire, just yeeting those EMPs into sight when you want to execute work wonders for them. What I'm really shook by here, Tim, is the bans coming out of BDS, and I know exactly why they've done this. The Ash and the Jaeger bans is because they want to show nothing. If they do bring this map out at some point in playoffs, these bans are garbage. No one's going to look at those and expect them to come out again, so good hiding by BDS.
That's it. Sometimes you've just got to keep a few things in the old back pocket for the important games that are yet to come. Kaid making up the full complement of bans there, and we're going to have Soniqs starting out on the defense of Villa. It's going to be round 1 in Aviator games. Not much of a major surprise there. Interesting, we've got the Flores switching from Alems over to Rafal here. Alems is going to bring the Capitao, Renshiro on the Zofia, so we've got a whole lot of a mix up there.
Are you surprised?
Absolutely
I'm not massively surprised. You'll either see a lot of what you saw on the last map, or things will just be kind of plain and simple as normal. Because like for here, for example, Alems is on Sledge. Normally Renshiro plays that. He's playing on the Zofia. Rafal's playing on the Flores that normally you'd see on Alems. So a lot of mixing and dicing around. The only thing that has really stayed consistent is Iana and Hibana.
Jacko, go kill.
You joke, actually. When he was the first person in lobby, he was like, and the observer's like, okay, we start, Shaiko, go kill.
That's what it's all about. Keep him on the Iana, keep him consistent. Don't want to be changing those weapons and recoil if you can avoid it. Now, Grix is going to get a black eye camera out in statuary there. Interesting position. I don't think I've seen that one used before. Just in behind the feet of the statue there. You get a good view onto the door. So when a team is pushing from that north side, you'll be able to see them pushing in towards the top of red stairs. So yeah, exactly there. Fascinating one. That is a nice one that you probably take away with you there. I bet it doesn't get spotted out too often either.
No, cleared out on the south side, but not enough that it's going to be the only default cam taken away rather than the balcony cams. Grix taking a shot there from somewhere as well. Not enough to finish him off, but enough to give a little bit of chip damage and just remind him BDS are watching, look busy. You got Renshiro playing on the south side at the minute by himself, I imagine, looking to threaten his way up the main stairs at some point into the round, whereas the rest of BDS putting their focus entirely on the north side and looking to move their way down through the map.
Out goes the Claymore to prevent any potential jump outs. Something that I think BDS probably need to be aware of. The Soniqs might take the opportunity here to just try and get aggressive, get aggro up into their faces, take the jump outs, take the peak, see if they can get themselves an early advantage. But they'll be looking to take a leaf out of TSM's book as well and potentially spoil BDS's party here. They have qualified for the playoffs, but they haven't secured that top spot yet, so they could well find themselves going through in second. It could impact seeding, it could impact all sorts of things. So whilst still not an essential match win for BDS, it could be an important one. Shaiko spotting out that Valkyrie cam there. Just going to take it down. That's 1 of 3 gone. The other 2 should still be active as they haven't pushed into those areas yet. But coming up to the halfway point, Grixer has to dip back. A lot of flash coming his way.
One nod I will give towards this game, thinking about it, if BDS do lose this game, don't forget, then BDS finish the group on the points that they've ended on, which is 11. Cyclops then play against Team 1 later on. If it comes down to that point, the way it shapes up at the moment, I look at it, is that if Cyclops win and get more points, and more than like an overtime loss, they walk away with enough points to take first place off BDS.
Exactly that. You know, like I said, there is certainly something for BDS to play for here. If they get themselves into overtime, this should be fairly... We're going to be in that situation again, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But even an overtime loss would create a situation where they should be getting towards safety. But with the point picked up by Cyclops, maybe not the case, because they can land on 13 points now. BDS currently on 11, so even an overtime win might not guarantee it. I'd have to do the maths. I think it probably would do based on match win percentage, but still, it could be a tricky one for them. The best bet is come in here, win this inside of 12, and just get the points on the board. Out comes the impact nade trick, going to clear off the first set of X-Kairos pellets. No more in the pocket for Rexon, so that will now be a successful opening of the vault. Lems successfully opens up his account here on Villa with a kill onto Yeti, and it starts falling apart there. Shaiko gets 2, Bride shut down, Renshiro involved as well. Rexon gets aggressive into 90 corridor, finds one, but he's got a whole world of pain ahead of him in a 1 versus 3. Tries to take the kill onto Shaiko, who's going into plant. He's not going to be able to. Hops up onto the bar to get the angle. Rafal is waiting for exactly that maneuver and finds the kill. BDS take round 1.
I half expected for a second the C4 that came in to kill Bride would be shot out of the air, because remembering that we're on LAN, they are a lot easier to shoot at. Do you remember? I don't know if you saw it, but we saw it on a VOD review. I think me and you were casting it, where on Consulate, someone threw a drone from South Spawn. It was against Empire. Threw a drone from South Spawn towards the meeting room balcony. Dan was at the window and shot it out in midair. And I was like, what? Like, imagine being that present to be at the window to shoot out a drone flying through the air.
Honestly, the mechanical skill is just absolutely ridiculous sometimes with these guys, and moments like that really do make you realise just how good they are. We're going to be going back to Aviator games again here for Soniqs. They're going to try to lock it down. It wasn't, to be fair, awfully close in round 1. It came down to a 3v1 at the end, and that's how it finished as the final kill went in. So Soniqs, they need to, I think, maybe just try and aggress more on that north side. BDS seemed to get in relatively unscathed, unchallenged. They were able to move in very quickly, pressure 90 corridor, pressure the north side door, and just really move quickly across that top side of the map. So it'd be nice to see Soniqs just apply a little bit more manpower over there and try to hold back the tide for a little bit longer.
Alrighty, that's outside again. The attempt once more. I think for Soniqs, they had the right idea as well, playing Denial onto the plant spot. I appreciate it. I respect it. Here, small difference in BDS's attack, where Renshiro spawning up towards the northwest side rather than down inside of ruins. Going to start with the rest of the team up towards here, probably because there is quite a presence coming out of the Soniqs up towards the north. Sort of thing we saw before, to be fair, because TSM like running something very, very similar. When you have Bolo running around on Goyo, always going to find him holding inside a statuary and looking to cause a little bit of carnage. Grenade in hand for Shaiko. Can't imagine you'll see that shield much longer for this world. Easily cleared out, of course. No ADS is present on side. No Wamai Rafal almost being C4'd off Astro window.
Yeti still playing on this north side. This is what I wanted to see. We've got Grixer with him as well. Yeti's going to just drop himself away. Out comes the nade from Shaiko to make sure that that wall does get opened. Rafal has found himself downed. I'm not sure if that's after a little fall from the roof or not maybe, or whether he's taken a few shots. But Grixer, he's going to find a headshot onto Shaiko, and this is better from Soniqs. This is the adaptation that I wanted. Don't let BDS into north side control and to be pushing you on site immediately, getting themselves established in 90, opening up the vault. This is going to be a much more difficult job for them. They're down to half a round to go at. Renshiro manages to get a late trade onto Grixer, so that's going to now leave us 4 versus 4.
And obviously the more supportive role here with the Mozzie. When he first came out, teams were using him in 2 different ways. One, more looking to get out on the roam, deny vision, make it so you could play on the roam without anyone catching you on a drone and finding yourself shut down just a few seconds later. Or you can play it in this more defensive style where you catch a drone, you sit back on site, you play a more supportive role to your team to give you an idea of where pushes are coming from and to give you an idea of what the reaction needs to be. Same again for BDS, so the square up is coming in onto Astro Doorway. We saw this coming in before. Grenade comes singing in just to remove any gadgetry that would have been lurking around on the other side. Looking at you, Mute, with those Mute jammers. Minutes play with still, Tim.
It's play with and kills yet to be found. We've just found ourselves in a little bit of a lull after that opening trade-off. Rafal low health because he did knock himself off the roof, I think, and found himself down but not out. He was collected, so he will be living to fight in the late round, but he's not going to be able to take too much of a challenge. Renshiro just notifying himself and his teammates that there's somebody playing in 90 corridor. Yeti just missing the shots on Lems there. Had the opportunity to shoot into the back of the sledge, but won't find it. Out comes the yellow ping, so Lems is going to try and use that nade to find a man above, but will be unsuccessful. The trading bullets back and forward with Yeti seems to continue, and once again they miss each other like ships in the night here, just passing each other. They will both live to fight another day. Kansan, however, finds a kill onto Breed. Lems goes in, collects the diffuser, looks to try and get it down, but Rexon shuts him out. 2 versus 2, becoming a battle of attrition. 3 seconds left to go, though, and BDS are going to lose on time.
All right. I mean, it's not really a BDS trait to find themselves running out of time. Again, we'll give it to the way the game is currently played out, the expectations coming into it. Maybe that's some lean, some impact on that side of things, but not bad for Soniqs to find themselves with a round 4 here, because let's not forget as well, this does have an impact. We mentioned it at the start of the last round. It can have an impact on the end outcome if Cyclops can take first place off BDS later on today. Living and Library going to be our next site. One that I think is starting to be explored a little more lately, Tim. I know that we saw it once or twice last year in NA, TSM being a team I remember running it every now and then. But we've seen teams like Na'Vi in EU start to play it. I know we've seen some awesome attacks coming out of, I think it was BDS against Vitality, where they played them one day, lost to it, came back the next day with an awesome Amaru strap from inside of the basement to counter it. I like that we're seeing it more, because now we're seeing all 4 sites being played around the map, even if Trophy Statuary is slowly starting to slip away.
Absolutely, you know, we like to see that variety, and it's just down to the sheer size of Villa. I think it was inevitable that it was going to take a long time. Ultimately, teams got very quickly acquainted with the top floor, and then there was all the nuance to be added. I mean, you remember once upon a day, every push came from the south side balcony. Then we saw the introduction of the main stairs hold. Now it's a north side push. We've seen the north side hold coming out, and it's this sort of dance back and forward. And because it's such a big map, there are plenty of options. So even those top 2 floor sites have just really taken a long time to fully explore. But as that has happened, teams have then cast their eye away. Once they feel like the attackers are getting to grips with these sites, you start thinking, right, how viable actually is living room and library? How viable is dining and kitchen? And as that has happened, the same process then, rinse and repeat. You go down there and you get that adaptation, you get that alteration of strategy until you get to a point whereby it is more or less viable.
I do love the vault holes that come through. And I think it was Na'Vi against G2 in EUL, when Na'Vi were holding inside the vault, as Kansan is doing now. These opened up, give you full coverage up towards the north walls that you would normally open up. Thank you very much, Medics, for that wonderful demonstration, who, of course, is joining the B stream, forming the dream team for us all day today. So I'm sure we'll be having a right laugh on this one. But yeah, normally up here when it was Na'Vi defending it, I think for G2, it took them like 2 minutes to clear out the top floor and hadn't even started to look at the ground floor. So it can be an absolute nightmare if you're not careful. Grenade comes singing up. Oh my God. Yeti got caught peeking and got a nade to the face.
What a grenade from Shaiko coming in there. Absolutely brilliant from him. Up between the floorboards and finds his man. Shuts him down and leaves us 5 versus 4. BDS with an advantage once again. They weren't able to make that pay in round 2. Soniqs were able to fight their way back into it. They are on a bit of an off-site here, so we'll see if the Soniqs are equally capable of doing that down here. But you've got to say, BDS probably not too familiar with attacking this one either.
Indeed, as well. In comes Wrexham with one coming back on the other side. I imagine for the side of BDS, they were doing a prep in this because, again, they were the ones who came up with that awesome counter onto this hole previously. But haven't it been a long time? I honestly would love to try and get the average number of days between BDS playing on Villa, because they do try it once every in a blue moon. And when they do try and give it a go, it doesn't go well. Like I say, it goes back into the vault and doesn't get brought out again. Shaiko being gatted down by Grixer on the downstairs. Vaulting in, wasn't aware, I think, that he was hanging around inside a library. 4 versus 3 for Soniqs.
Rafal just looking to push up those main stairs, or at least make sure that nobody's pushing down them. Renshiro going to shut down Super with a fantastic headshot onto the Valkyrie, leaving us now 3 versus 3, tying things up in terms of the manpower. Rafal with a lot of access to the side of site there, but chooses not to go in there yet. The Rotero drone is going to clear out the bottom section of that, so just means he doesn't have to go through that vault animation to get in there. Just enables him to take the gunfights a little bit easier.
You can see him setting up around now. They've got that Sophia playing out towards the south side. 2 or 3 now looking to zip their way. And Breede's managed to somehow snake his way in and is going for a plan. Gristin plays C4 over the top. Does find one, but Breede pros don't fake Tim. You tell me this all the time. True supports, they stick it. This one can frag out. Renshiro's got the support. It's all down to Canton on the upstairs, and they have snaked that one away. Tim, how many times have we seen Breede left in a 1 versus 1?
Plenty of times, and you would expect him to win this out. He generally does. He's going to look to move himself through that arch studio. Could get himself an angle onto the flank, but he's going to wait. He's going to wait for that noise. He knows he doesn't need to make this challenge. Doesn't want to throw his life away. Kansan knows exactly where he is. There's just very little that he can do about it. Out comes the Nitro. It won't be successful as Breede starts to move through. Finds the angle onto the man stood on top of the diffuser and closes out the round for BDS, who take themselves an advantage. He was trying to get a reinforce up Des to protect himself whilst going for the disable on the diffuse. I mean, it's a bold strategy.
The bold strategy, Karen. See if it pays off for him. And that's what maybe a little bit less not. Either way, good round coming out again. 2-1 to BDS on the attacking side as well. Never really going to be a bad thing. And trophy statuary, kind of the offside. Grixer. Something funny, guys? Huh? No, nothing's funny. I do love it when you get to these kind of later ends of the group stages when things don't matter as much and you do get a little bit of fun.
It's yeah, it's always nice to see the, at the end of the day, a lot of the players, they're friends with each other. They spend a lot of time playing each other inside of the server. Less so when you've got the inter-regional matches like this, but it's always an opportunity to have a little bit of fun as well. Of course, we've got to remember that as serious a game as this is, it's always nice if the entertainment is there as well. And Shaiko recognising, saying, you know what, fair play, that was probably a decent attempt. If you get that reinforce off, maybe it's different, maybe it does go down.
You do have to read between the lines on where the sarcasm exists in each of those messages that came through, because you're never quite 100% sure, especially considering as well the cultural differences or even the language differences as well. BDS obviously a full French squad, do predominantly speak French. I think some of the players are always the most keen to even give interviews speaking in English, and not always the thing that you're going to see from them. Whereas NA boys, they do enjoy their banter. See how round 4 plays out though on trophy and statuary is mentioned. One of the, I don't want to say so much the least popular site, but it is slowly weaning that way, right? We've seen throughout the tournament when we have gone on to Villa, it's been Aviator games first, Dining is the second site, and Trophy has always been the third. And for the occasional creative team like Soniqs, see Living and Library stepping in there as well.
So the thing is, it's the opportunity to try it as well, Des. It's like I said, for the Soniqs, this match is a little bit about learning. Lems is going to learn not to run into sight without his ADS up, as Rexon is going to find a nice and easy headshot to open things up. But the Soniqs can take this as an opportunity. They're up against a very good competitive side. Let's test it. Let's see what Living Room and Library is like against this good team. Let's see, where we can open up rotations. Let's use it as a little bit of a test, a bit of a learning curve for us. Maybe it's something that we can take away and develop. Maybe it's just so they're not showing too much ahead of that stage 3 as well, which I'm sure will be firmly in Soniq's mind right now. That's going to be the next thing that they are preparing for. But right now, they've got a game to try and win here against BDS if they don't want to have it all their own way. And Shiro Shiro looking to make the challenge into Astro. He knows that the man is there. He's going to try to deal with that shield, but needs to be careful as Super just bouncing up and down there, keeping himself unpredictable, looking to make that challenge with the SMG.
Half the round passing through and only Lems being the one falling down. We've seen a couple of reverse vertical challenges, to be fair. So we saw it in the last game with the sledge as well, don't forget. Comments on, won't see too many more of that, given that SMG is being taken away soon. Expecting someone to be on the stairs, absolutely not the case. Rafal maybe a bit more paranoid than he should be, but a C4 comes out, catches friend Shiro. Soniqs with the 2 opening kills here, on course to be able to balance things out at 2 apiece.
Psycho looking to aggress in, and this is the problem. You can have the man advantage against BDS, but there are still players who will do exactly that to you. Yeti getting down inside of Statuary, but before he can finish the kill, Kansan finds the long angle, shuts down 1, shuts down 2 with a headshot onto Rafal, and that leaves Breeder with it all to do. 1 versus 4 effectively, but it looks like Yeti might even be picked up here. He finds the first onto Kansan. However, it's a direct trade as Yeti does get picked up, so effectively things don't get any better for Breeder. 1 versus 4, can't use his drone and has to get the second out. 38 seconds, so he doesn't have all the time in the world where he needs to find 4 kills. He's got to find 1 about every 7.5 seconds at the minute, Des.
Yeah, I can't imagine Soniqs even giving that opportunity, to be honest with you.
No.
At this point, it's more about Breeder and a terrorist hunt run, seeing how many kills he can find himself. It is on beyond realistic mode. Some might even call it the esports mode in the game, where they're actually a little bit more realistic. It's almost like they're real players, Tim. See what you can find stepping in, but gets peaked by 2. Man, they really have upgraded that game mode lately.
I don't know, it feels like that when I play it.
Unrealistic. They do shoot back on realistic, unless you're popping heads on every corner you walk round.
Honestly, unfortunately, that's me on normal. I'm not even going to lie about it, Des. Coming into round number 5 then, we're going to be heading to Aviator Games for Soniqs. It's their penultimate defense here before they move on to the attacking half. 2 for 2. They're going to be pretty happy with that on the scoreboard, I would imagine. BDS able to get a couple of rounds, but nothing much more. It's been back and forward. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Soniqs keeping themselves competitive here. They've defended Aviator Games twice, 50-50 so far on the day. They're going to look to try and improve that now and make it 2 wins for 1 loss.
Indeed, all things balanced out so far. Aviator Games, the site we step back into on the south side. The alibi being brought along by Yeti. We spoke about this a little bit yesterday, but didn't really have a proper conversation about it. Frost has dropped off a hell of a lot more than I expected, even with still having that shotgun secondary versus Yeti, or Yeti alibi, sorry, having the bailiff secondary. I think that 1.5 just going to show. Sites don't really balance operators. Apparently this one really does. People love their 1.5s. What can I say?
Certainly do. They've become very popular, haven't they, since they came into... I mean, again, Des, I've got like, my eyes aren't great. You know, the glasses are there for a reason. So for me, it's all about max zoom. You know, if the opportunity's there for a 2 times,
you're the kind of guy like
just give it to me.
CQB, like walking around a corner with a 2.5
max zoom,
on, right?
Max zoom in, yeah, absolutely. You know, I can't ADS in close quarters because it's just not. It's like I'm trying to fight with a broom handle at that point.
I want to see the man sweat dripping down his cheeks before even going for that gunfight. That level of zoom, mate. Christ. I couldn't do it. I'd just be like, what the hell? I'm just seeing pixels changing, max HD. A little bit much for me, I think.
This is why I don't get the kills, you see. This is why I put the diffuser down. That's the one thing I can do on 1 times. But right now, we'll see if BDS can get this win on 1 times or if they can speed it up and maybe just apply that multiplier to the clock here and start moving through Soniqs a little bit quicker. The Lems, he's downstairs looking for any of the roamers. Just going to clear himself a route out of Piano. Starting to dismantle the map with that big sledgehammer. Sledge's caber in hand, doing a lot of damage. I'm not really sure with what intention, but it's done nonetheless.
There's something. Here's Rafal doing normally the role that you'd see assigned again over towards the Lens, but a couple of changes coming in here to mask away what BDS might normally play. Being used to good effects, as we know. BDS do really like playing this Flores. It's really curious thinking about it across the stages so far that we haven't seen it be super popular across every team, despite some being convinced that it is a little bit broken as an operator. Some just saying, nah, it's not really in our bank. We don't need it. We've got other things that we can play. Nice interesting differences that you see around the world.
5 versus 4 as the Lens is going to Nade himself. He's not going to find anybody. The only person he's going to find is himself. Keeping hold of that nade for too long. Almost certainly looking for a vertical kill there. It's a tough one to gauge because you're literally throwing it a few meters, so you've got to get it right onto the wire of that fuse. But let go half a second too late, and that is exactly what happens. It takes off your arm, takes off your head, and Alems finds that out the hard way. Shaiko moving into study, finds that Valkyrie cam, takes it down. Default cam goes as well, so BDS keeping on top of the information game. Rexon could be a big factor here. And take out that Gemini clone. The challenge will come in. Renshiro takes damage. Rexon takes damage. Neither of them lose a life. Neither of them back out of the fight for the time being until Renshiro moves into study. Might wish that he hasn't, as he's going to be ready story and put to bed there by Grixer on the short angle. But meanwhile, Rafal and Brede get kills. Brede trading out Grixer 2 versus 2. 15 seconds left to go. It's all down to Shaiko and Brede to make something happen here. Super, Rexon holding down the site. Rexon finds one. Can Super get the second? Of course he can with the shotgun. And that is going to close out the round. 3-2 now for Soniqs.
Good stuff for the Soniqs. Sure, BDS running the clock a little bit low. Alems demonstrating to everybody why he doesn't play frag grenade operators in the first place, leaving that duty usually over to Renshiro and Shaiko in the lineup. But Soniqs pull ahead. Not a bad place to be in on the defensive side of Villa. BDS probably looking here for that third round to bring things up to 3-3 at the half. Would be a good outcome for them. Living in Library again, be that site that we step into. Last time round, worked out relatively well. It was always interesting to see the setups as they play out. The mirror windows in good use. The Valkyrie being subbed back in here in place of the Legion.
Going to be heading down to living room and library then for round 6. Final defensive round for Soniqs before we see BDS move on to the defense. If BDS can come away 3-3 here on the attack, I think they'll be pretty happy with that. There's been maybe one or two sort of mistakes, missed opportunities where they maybe could have exploited man advantage a little bit more. But Soniqs have done very, very well. I take nothing away from them. We've had a couple of those moments where they've obviously been trying something, reinforcing to get a soft wall so that you can try and disable a diffuser behind it. But on the whole, pretty solid. They've dealt with what BDS have thrown at them. They've been hitting kills, particularly Rexon. He's going well so far. Grixer getting in on that as well. Nice little duo forming between them inside of the Tuscan mansion. Interesting play there, Des.
Yeah, I mean, for Rexon and Grixer, as mentioned before, they're the kind of the new superstars on the block that everyone wants to see do well. From the games that we have seen of Soniqs, and I think we've only seen one or two on this stream, we saw them play against Cyclops yesterday. I was really impressed by Kansan, to be honest with you. Thought he played really, really well, enjoying seeing what's to come from him. This is another one of those squads that I compare to, say, down one Kia, right? Give him a few more months, a bit more time in the oven to really fester and stew a little bit. Take him out the oven in 3 months' time, and you'll have a lovely, lovely dinner ready for you to chow down on. So maybe at the November Major, if they, of course, qualify, that's when you can see the real Soniqs coming up with a real showing.
Renshiro putting Claymore down to prevent the hatch drop. Anybody maybe not too familiar with Villa as a map, wondering why it was just facing towards a bunch of cupboards there? It's because there is a hatch directly above it, so it just prevents Soniqs from dropping down behind them and exposing the flanks. Now, we've only got Super and Grixer on site. Rexon, Kansan and Yeti all upstairs, so BDS definitely going to have to deal with that, but there is the potential for one of them to try and drop a hatch. Maybe it will be the hatch that's got the Claymore underneath it. It's something for us to watch out for. Alems is up on the top floor. He's going to start opening up those vertical angles, but the problem is he's above kitchen and dining at the minute, and that's not the site we're playing into. It's going to be living room and library, I believe, so they need to get themselves over to the 90 corridor to Aviator Games side.
Place to report, Shaiko can throw grenades without taking his own arm off in the process. I'm genuinely sure for Alems it was a mistake, but it probably bounced off a wall or something daft. I can't imagine he overheld a grenade. Not the kind of thing that you really see at this level of play, to be completely honest with you.
As you say, it could easily be a piece of debris. It could be that the floor has maybe been slightly opened up. It's not gone through. It's come back off the floorboard, something like that. Renshiro opening up a nice long angle. One that's often overlooked there. It is a soft wall that leads onto the red stairs. I think overlooked because on the other side there's just a painting on the wall, so it doesn't necessarily look like a soft wall, but you can shoot it out and rotate onto those red stairs. It is a potential way of clearing somebody out of there. Renshiro's going to use it as a long angle into sight, and right now why, though. The Soniqs just being allowed to sit up above theirs. They're just waiting in their ivory tower, you could call it, up in Aviator Games at the minute. There's absolutely nothing to move them from it, and they're going to potentially dish out some real supremacy from up here.
Yeah, the reverse angles always make me nervous though, right? You can step forward and challenge onto them. They will see your feet from the look before you see them. Sure enough, Rexon, Kansan finding one apiece. That's what I was worried about. At the same time, BDS were trying to challenge into Volt. I think Rexon was the one who stepped out and found that kill at the top of landing. Diffuser on the ground. In comes Renshiro. He goes, I'll do it for you, boys. I'll get both playing inside of Volt. 2 for himself and a 3 versus 3 for Foul going in for the plant.
Almost certainly going to stick it as Renshiro gets one. Shaiko with another onto Super. And the last man alive, Grixer, despite how well he's been playing so far, can do nothing about the BDS onslaught that comes through there. And we found ourselves 3-3 on the half. BDS switching over and going on to defense. And this is really where BDS want to show us a little bit of something. Not too much. As you say, they're trying to keep things under wraps, but at the same time, maybe they just want to send a message to teams that think BDS don't play Villa. If they can show a few good defenses here, then maybe teams think, oh, maybe BDS can play Villa. But right now, I don't think we've really seen enough of them to suggest that'd be the case.
Can't imagine you'll see anything too exotic from them, to be honest. Lems going on to the Vigil, maybe the one that you look at and go, well, that's kind of out there. Not massively. Lems plays this a lot on maps, like when they used to play Coast, he would always be the one playing out on it. Maybe you look at this and go, oh, well, I expect Shaiko to be playing that sort of thing. Yes, but also no. Aviator gains the point of defense, and Rafal stepping across onto the Warden, reading into the smokes, the flashes, everything coming out from the side of the Soniqs.
Setting up inside of Study then. Shaiko using that bulletproof camera with the Aruni. Just punches the hatch out from underneath. Will prevent it, I'm pretty sure in saying, as long as he placed it far enough over on the wall, it prevents it from being meleeed and smashed. Of course, if you're that caught in any way, you can take a bulletproof camera down, you can just shoot it from the side, but just taking the hatch out maybe just denies a little bit of access to it. It's probably not going to have any major impact, but it's something that you can do with Maestro cams, the evil eyes, things like that. Get them placed above a hatch, take it out, and it just at least prevents that option. If you're going to be playing in the area and looking to get a quick challenge onto it when somebody approaches, you might just not have time to deal with it.
Outside push from either one. You get really excited when I see comps like this in case there is something giga spicy to come out the back of it. Looking at them being armed to the teeth with smokes is one of those ones that makes me excited. However, we've got to see them get in spot to pull it off. Because think about, for example, in the previous game, BDS versus Cyclops, there were a couple of rounds when Cyclops had a Capitao on side, ready to pull off a great execute with a couple of smokes, for example. But with Alligator getting C4'd off early on, removing away the Capitao, they couldn't pull off the plans that they wanted to. So keeping the crucial elements to this alive is going to be part of the game plan. I guess the one beautiful thing against BDS, as we've always said about them in Europe, 95% of the time, you are not really going to see them roaming. There is a Vigil here to roam. It's a dedicated roamer for them. But it's very uncommon that you see BDS send 2-3 players off site and have them charging around the map. They do often quite like playing this more kind of turtle-based setup.
Well, they know that Rafal is playing over on that side of the map, but it's not going to matter as Shaiko goes in and gets 2. Here we go. BDS on the defense can be a frightening prospect. Shaiko, Renshiro just doubling down, getting another there. Alems finds one. It's all up to Kansan in a matter of seconds. Shaiko, Renshiro and Alems have absolutely destroyed the side of Soniqs, and it leaves Kansan with a lot of work to do. He's got a few kills to his name so far, so we won't say that it's not possible. He's certainly got time on the clock. That's not a factor for him. 1 minute 30 left to go. 2 drones in hand, able to use those as well. So he's sort of got the tools that he might need, but he's not going to worry about all of that. He's just going to go in and have a look for these kills. He knows they're likely to be playing at least 1 or 2 in around Study Aviator games. Try and get in there, get a kill, get the diffuser picked up, and see what he can do from there.
That's the problem, right? He's got to get across to Aviator to recover the diffuser and then go for a plant off the back of the kills, bearing in mind there are 3 people around. No C4s on side. No, Alem's backing out. I think they were expecting that he might be trying to push his way through into Aviator. Didn't expect the 90 rotate. He's found 1. 2 more to go through. And suddenly, given their HP bars, everything looks a lot more feasible, Tim.
Soniqs just coming out to clear some utility, along with a flashbang. We've got one underneath and one on site at the minute. Shaiko is the first that could be found on site. He's playing just on the opposite side of that rotation, stepping into a mute jammer. That won't signal the Aruni to let him know that he's there. He takes the challenge, doesn't find the man, does on the second attempt, in behind that deployable shield. 23 seconds left to go. Ranshiro underneath, but he doesn't have a nitro, Des. He's going to have to find it. Oh, it's pre-placed. Pre-placed. There we go. He's baited me in as well. Just got the nitro placed under the diffuser. Maybe a little bit of intel. I think the bulletproof cam was still up that we'd spoken about being placed by Shaiko, and that is as easy as they come.
I saw a bunch of players talking about this on Twitter earlier when someone was like, oh, isn't it kind of cheating? And everyone was there saying, no, we all do it. It's like the way that players order themselves to sit, and obviously in this case, I'm not quite sure when Ranshiro was sitting. I think he was sitting more towards the back. But like players who might have any kind of information or might be droners, for example, you'll see them sat either side of the fraggers who can play off that kind of information. Because in that case there, say for example, there is a black eye cam up. Sometimes it can be easy to have it up on your other monitor. The player with the C4 can just sit and watch with their button over the G key. And as soon as someone walks in sight on the black eye camera, bam! Easy to kill. No need for a call out. You've literally got to watch someone else's screen that's sat right next to you. So in case you were wondering, yes, teams do have a reason for why they sit in a certain order. It's kind of optimized around intel collection and being able to use information peripheral to you on your teammates' monitors.
Going to have the bulletproof camera brought along again by Shaiko after the impact that it had there. We've also got the black eye cameras from Rafal. So again, BDS looking for as much information as they can get. They're going to be heading over to the second top floor site, which is going to be trophy and statuary. They're not heading downstairs just yet, as we saw Soniqs much more willing and eager, I'd say, to get themselves downstairs. They were certainly down there when the opportunity arose, rather than going to trophy and statuary. Lems is going to be reinforcing down in dining and kitchen, so the vigil going to be playing underneath, try and get some surprise kills, try and waste as much time as possible.
Understandably so. Kind of been what he's looking for. And I know in the last round I said, oh, you know, BDS, not really a roaming team unless you're on something like a coastline. I love how, as I said it, we had a warden on the north side of the map in trophy and statue reinforcing a barricade. Well, not reinforcing, but placing down a barricade. And I was like, oh, just a way to kind of throw that whole argument to the wind, guys. Thank you very much. But we don't commonly see them playing roaming. It's more just here, I think, having a little bit of creativity, getting out in the map, trying to stretch their wings a little bit, see what they can do. Soniqs, knowing that they need to do something special on the attacking round so far. That last one, sure, it came down to a 1 versus 1, but being less than a 1 versus 3, not the best sign of confidence if you were to be thinking about taking away a win.
Just trying to get the angle onto that bulletproof camera. It takes a little bit of doing for Kansan, but he does eventually find it. I don't think he actually had a clear line of sight. He had to go through a soft surface to find it, but will do. Rafal going to take a big chunk of damage there, just below half health, and he's being chased down by Rexon, who's got him on that Jackal track. So he's just going to get pinged out. Now, that will stop for the time being, but they know that Rafal's playing on the red stairs. Cams are being checked. Trying to locate where everybody is now. This could be dangerous. If the nitro comes out, he's just going to collect it. I think Breeder just missing his shot a little bit there. Just caught it on the frame of the wall. He's going to dip back. He's still got that nitro in pocket now. The Selma grenade, the Selma charge rather, is still being blocked out by the mute jammer that's been placed on the wall. So that's going to be a job for Soniqs to clear out as well.
Indeed, one of those cameras being found out, that IQ being brought along now. We spoke about it for BDS in the previous map as well, how for half of their attacking rounds they had this, for the other half it was the Flores. And we kind of theorized, you know, why? What is it they're looking for here? And we did say, okay, maybe the vigil being brought along is a thing that they want to be able to find out. Of course, when his gadget is active, you can see him on those cameras. Maybe to identify where those mute jammers would be in position from the roof in a safe spot before they try go charging downstairs, because knowing Cyclops should find yourself being disrupted early on. C4 does finally come up from Breeder, but nothing found or nothing ventured, nothing gained. Quite literally, in this case, Rexon finally finding himself going down to Rafal with a deagle on red stairs.
Rafal still playing in the same position, Des, as he was damaged in to begin with, but manages to find 2 kills from there. It's a real upset from him. Breeder finds a kill onto Super, leaving us now 5 versus 2. It's all on Yeti and Kansan, and Soniqs certainly seeming to have a bit more trouble on the attack here. A lot of trouble as they try to push into Breeder with the shotgun. Managed to find the kill eventually, Kansan, but Ilems, he gets the trade, shuts down the round. BDS take another, and they are cruising towards a victory here if this continues. 5-3 on the scoreboard.
Understandably so. Soniqs, after 2 rounds of dismay, doom, and disarray, say it's time for a timeout. Let's have a conversation here and figure what we can do to try and change things up. Obviously, for them at this point, we know that for them it's more playing for pride and warming themselves up to be a potential disruptor against Team 1 in the next fixture. Worth noting as well, Tim, for those who are wondering how today progresses, we have 2 games coming up between this and the continuation of Group A. We have 2 games coming in from Group C, and they are G2's 2 games. G2 versus Damwon Kia and G2 versus NIP. And if you missed the 2 games yesterday, by the way, God, you need to go back and watch them. NIP losing twice to Damwon Kia is not an outcome that anyone expected. It was both in overtime, so both teams walked away with something, but one considerably happier than the other, Tim.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, those games were back-to-back, and just the bravery, the nerve of Damwon Kia, and I love it. They went to Clubhouse, went to 15 rounds. It's 8-7. They get the win. They've beaten the world champions. Fantastic. They have to go in to another game against them. So what do? They go back to Clubhouse again, Des. They go to overtime and they win it again. Damwon Kia absolutely turning up, and they're in a position whereby if they beat G2 in that game that we've got up next, they guarantee themselves a place in the playoffs. That's the reality for Damwon Kia now. It's absolutely huge. Group C is really, really fascinating. There's a lot can happen in Group C today. NIP down in the bottom of the group at the minute, they could go through quite easily. And we could see Dark Zero, who are top of the group, not make it. So there's a lot that can happen inside of Group C. It's going to depend on how teams like G2 fare. They've not been playing well so far, but if we just see them turn up today, then all bets are off. Anything could happen. Group C is a real fascinating one.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty. See how the downstairs defense comes in on dining and kitchen. So no living library exoticness coming in so far for BDS, maybe in the next round. On the attacking side, though, Bandits come away against a few of the NA teams. And I remember Cloud9 in APAC were one of the first teams to start giving a good use to Zero and experimenting with it at the start of Stage 2. Didn't really get any results from it, or results that they would have wanted. However, for the NA teams, I know Dark Zero draw a couple of bans away for it. For example, Soniqs not the case, but for them, the pick could be quite viable. It's almost like that kind of reverse Valkyrie here. It's going to be cams or little intel gathering gadgets scattered in corners and random parts of rooms here to feed information back between both teams. One thing I do really like about Zero, especially on maps like Chalet or Consulate, where it's a little bit thinner for parts of the map, you can control both floors of a map incredibly easily with a Zero. Just gives you all the info you need. I love this, by the way. Look at that.
Peeky outside. Cam coming in from Rafal there. Not going to be an easy one to find. He's just scanning through, see who he can locate out of this Soniqs attack. They are, of course, defending BDS this time down in dining and kitchen. So they're going to try to hold on to top floor, at least with the token force. We've got a couple up there at the minute. I think it's actually just fallen down to Elems now, who's up there on the vigil. Oh, no, we've got Shaiko up.
Welcome back to the stream. I missed my countdown. Hi guys, welcome back to the B stream. As you may have heard, we did have a little bit of a power outage there, but now that has been resolved, we are basically ready to get back into things. The players are in the lobby still, don't worry. Nothing terrible has happened. It was just a bit of a power outage, or I think a surge at the venue. Us remotely, we got to sit out here and chill out for 5 minutes and be ready for the game to get back underway. BDS were 5-3 up over the Soniqs on Villa, and we shall continue from that point forward. The round that we were in, round number 9, will be replayed. We ended with a Nomad sat on a window ace.
Yeah, we'll be seeing probably very similar again. I'd have thought BDS are going pretty well on the attack at the minute. And now I use my time pretty well, Des, whilst we were waiting for everything to get back online. Do you notice anything?
You've grown some hair?
There's no longer a spot on your screen.
Oh yeah, the dot's gone on the wall behind you. Wicked, mate. Handyman Tim. He's at the go. Got his tools out that we were speaking about yesterday.
I always like to be productive. You know, I don't like to sit around doing nothing. We obviously got ourselves back online. Mate. We were just waiting for the stream to start up. I have the stuff to hand. I thought, you know what? I'm going to put Dez's mind at rest.
Give me some peace so I can sleep well tonight, knowing that my screen is clean of any dots, mate. I love you for it. We're back into game anyway. Here we go. Back underway with Cyclops against BDS. Now, if you missed the story earlier on, essentially this game... it's more a securing first place game for BDS. They win this game. They basically say there's no way that Cyclops can catch us. If they were to lose this game, Cyclops could beat Team 1 later on and snatch first place away from them. And what a story that would be. An APAC team finishing first place in a group where teams like BDS and Team 1 exist.
There's a lot of spice to come later on in Group A, particularly around Team 1. So they're going to be in a situation where if they win both of their matches, they will draw level on points with Cyclops. They'll have the same number of matches won each, so we will move on to a round win percentage. So we'll bring you the details as they happen, but the first thing they need to do is beat the Soniqs. That's all we need to worry about. Once if they do that, if they achieve that inside 12 rounds, then we'll worry about the scores and we'll tell you what needs to happen in that final game. But it is all still up in the air. Cyclops could go through. Team 1 could go through. We'll see how it plays out. Similar situation coming up in Group C right after this one as well, Des. That's a situation where all 4 teams can still qualify. Any combination of them. So absolutely wild on the Bravo stream today.
Now, you aren't blind in case you guys are looking at it as well. There is no HUD currently at the top of the screen. Don't worry. We see it. Production have caught it too. You're not the only eagle-eyed ones in the park here. They are working on it behind the scenes, and once that's sorted, we'll be back up on screen for you. And almost as if I've said it by magic, it's like the reverse caster curse, Ace. We're back in. We're at full power, and hopefully the 2 teams are as well.
Rafal playing that Valkyrie consistently here on Villa. Now that she's not banned out, just taking every opportunity to use it. Interesting little claymore put down from Rex in there on the through the drone hole. Just going to look to cut down any rotations for anybody not fully aware of their surroundings when heading up or down Astro stairs. Red beams onto a red carpet can be difficult to see sometimes.
Can indeed, however. No one finding any trouble, at least early on. We saw the kind of trade earlier in one of the earlier rounds, actually, where it was a bit of a shot through the last map, actually. It was the sledge from the SMG from below, landing a nasty shot from above. But there you go, as you say, the Claymore striking big. Clearly, Shaiko a little bit too eager to get himself around the map there.
Big play from Rexing. It's one of those that you sort of place down, you forget, you leave it there, you know that you're rolling the dash, you know it's a gamble, you know that you know there's a good likelihood somebody might see it. Shaiko may well have seen it. He may have been trying to maneuver around it, for example, and not been able to get a shot through the drone hole onto it or anything like that. But one way or another, he does get caught out, as does a Lems by Yeti, leaving us 5 versus 3, and a little bit of a break certainly doesn't seem to have done Soniqs any harm. They lost a couple of rounds beforehand. They lost 3 rounds, in fact, back to back, and they seem to have just broken that momentum now, coming through strong.
In the 1 in 30 chance that it works, it goes on to basically win you around, is the way that I look at it. Now, whether or not it's enough to press on and win Soniqs everything remains to be seen, but 5 versus 3 is a pretty good spot to be in. 80 seconds or so, and they're inside the building and starting to get this vertical flooring opened up, which is what they're looking for. Trying to identify where these rats hanging around down inside the sewer, or in this case around the kitchen, are inside the BDS, as one of their 2 remaining C4s comes out and connects onto no one.
BDS doing well at burning time, if nothing else. Tansen is going to be downed as well, so that could be big. He'll likely be connected because there's no pressure on the top floor. Rafal just holding inside a Memorial there, looking to push onto that window. Grix's drone going to go in, surely forcing away. I'm not sure that he's seen the Valkyrie. There you go, he spun it round. I was going to say, it's difficult to tell sometimes, but it was pretty much viewing the opposite side of Memorial. But rather than dipping away, Rafal's got even more aggressive right up onto that window, looking to make a challenge. Grixer just fires in. He knows that he's there. He's using the gadget from the Zofia there just as a proximity alarm, essentially. If it explodes as soon as it goes in the window, he knows that somebody's playing inside of there. Yeti is going to be downed as well. Super killed by Renshiro, who gets a double. Brede levels things out, and all of a sudden what was 3v5 is 2v2. Grixer gets Renshiro. It's all down to Brede on site. 1v2, drops 1. Can he get a second? There's going to be no opportunity to pick Grixer up here, realistically. Kansan has to go for the kill, pushing forward, but no, the time runs out, and somehow, Des, BDS, hang on.
I mean, I said, oh, look, I mean, maybe the one kill with the Claymore helps you get the round win. The second one, you're in a 5 versus 3, all but confirms that Soniqs would have had enough time and resource and manpower to play with to close the round out. But Brede, how many times have we got to have that sound, that name, leave our lips, Tim, in these kind of situations? Another clutch out of him. 3 rounds on the bounce for BDS on Villa. 6 and 3. Soniqs got a lot of work to do to fight their way back in.
Going to be heading up to Aviator Games. If Soniqs want to keep themselves fighting in this matchup at the Mexico Major, they're going to have to win this round and every subsequent round until they find themselves in overtime. BDS now on match point. They'll have an opportunity, basically, Des, to do a full defensive rotation here to close it down. If they don't win Aviator Games, they can try Trophy Statuary. If they don't win there, they can try somewhere downstairs. They've got a lot of freedom. They've got a lot of choices here that's going to help them to push forward and get this one done and secure top spot in Group A. Let's remember that is the prize. That is the stakes here for BDS.
This site, though, being the one of the most solid of the bunch, though, right? I know they have that choice to jump between others if they have to. But this one, the one where most teams will tend to thrive. Dining always being the second choice, and then normally, as mentioned, Trophy and Statuary quickly becoming the third off-site, or the third choice of sites, therefore declared off-site for a good number of teams. And you see some members of BDS charging around the map, as although I said earlier on, they're a team that normally would play a bit more passively, sit around site, use it more as a turtle defense. At least on this one, we have seen them with 2 or 3 players extending out across the entirety of the top floor and looking to cause some trouble.
Immediate attention towards that main door there, and Shiro on the stairs with the Goyo. He's going to face a rush here as the Gemini drone comes in. He wants to take the challenge onto the second. Out goes the Nitro. Will be successful onto Grixer, being pushed by a second. Renshiro could get him here. Tries again, and finds him with the hip fire. It was actually a Lems who finished him off from behind, backing his man up and managing to get that kill. Kansan, I tell you what, that slowed him down in his tracks.
They've got the smoke canister coming out, so Kansan is now trapped pushing up these stairs, and surely BDS know that. Renshiro, oh, cheeky, drops through the sunny hatch, finds himself another. BDS might just find a flawless to close things out here. Soniqs not presenting too much of a challenge to what will be the group champions of BDS once this final kill comes through. It is for Shaiko, and that's BDS securing first place.
BDS looking pretty confident as soon as they got onto the defense. It was even Stevens for the first half on attack, but then they have run away with it, and well, I won't say they've run away with Group A. It's taken them until day 3 to get it locked down, unlike teams like maybe Liquid, who got it done on day 2. BDS, however, will confirm top spot. They will go through top of the pile, and they will at least get, imagine, some sort of benefit out of that in the seeding.
Well, the next game that we see from this group will be a bit later on. Soniqs coming up against Team 1. And if things go as they have in this game, I can see Team 1 winning that